In March 1982, a group from a Boy Scout troop in New Jersey set out to explore Crooked Swamp Cave, the state's longest-known cave system. The expedition was meant to be an outdoor adventure, but it turned into a tragedy that would be remembered for decades. Trooper Donald Weltner, a 48-year-old leader, entered the cave alongside scouts and fellow explorers. At one point, he crawled into a narrow, unexplored passage beneath the earth. The space was tight and unfamiliar, stretching beyond the main route they'd followed. Soon after, members realized that Donald had become trapped about 17 feet underground. Rescue efforts began immediately, but the cave's narrow, unstable passages made access extremely difficult. For 3 long days, rescuers worked to reach him. Specialist teams attempted to dig and widen the passage, but progress was slow. The terrain was unforgiving, and the work had to be done carefully to avoid further collapse or danger to the rescuers. Despite tireless efforts, Donald's body remained unreachable. After about 80 hours trapped underground, he died in the cave. Eventually, rescuers faced the grim task of blasting through rock to bring him out. His death became a cautionary tale for explorers and outdoor groups, a stark reminder that caves can hide dangers deep beneath even familiar landscapes. In August 2010, Benjamin "Ben" McDaniel, a recreational cave diver from Memphis, Tennessee, set out for a dive that would change everything. Ben had been diving regularly at Vortex Spring in Florida, a popular spot for both open-water divers and cave exploration. On August 18th, he entered the underwater cave system alone, descending about 58 feet below the spring's surface with his gear. When Ben didn't surface, people initially thought he might have simply ended his dive and forgotten to check out. But his pickup truck remained parked at the dive shop for 2 days, and that raised alarm bells. Staff and friends realized something was seriously wrong. Search efforts began almost immediately. Divers and rescue teams entered the extensive cave system, but they couldn't find any sign of him. No gear, no body, nothing. The passages at Vortex Spring run deep and far beneath the earth, branching into labyrinthine tunnels that are notoriously difficult to navigate, especially alone. Ben's disappearance became one of the most puzzling and haunting cases in cave diving history. Despite extensive searches, his body was never found, and many believe he may still be somewhere deep within the underwater passages, unreachable and unseen. In November 1991, renowned cave explorers Bill Gavin and Parker Turner planned a dive into the Indian Springs cave system in Florida. The site was famous for its intricate underwater passages, places only the most experienced divers dared to explore. The pair had prepared for the dive for months, studying maps and calculating gas supplies for the deep underwater tunnels they planned to navigate. After an hour into their dive, they began their return toward the surface and the decompression tanks waiting near the cave entrance. But as they followed the guideline, the tunnel ahead suddenly changed. A narrow section of the cave, known as Squaw's Restriction, had collapsed without warning. The line that the divers relied on to find the way out was buried beneath sand and debris. Visibility dropped, and the route back became nearly impossible to follow. Bill Gavin managed to navigate his way out of the cave and reach the surface. But Parker Turner wasn't so fortunate. He was separated from the guideline and began running out of air as he tried to find a way out. Turner's body was recovered the next day. Decades later, researchers studying the incident determined that air bubbles released by the divers may have caused limestone shifts that weakened the tunnel and contributed to the collapse. This cave dive stands as one of the more tragic and studied underwater cave exploration accidents in modern history.